Ladies, let me tell you something real today. When somebody disrespects you, when they fail to see your worth, you don't beg, you don't bargain, you don't cry your way into being valued. A queen doesn't have to explain her crown. See, when a door closes in your life, it ain't the end. It's simply a sign that something better is waiting on the other side. But you won't ever reach it if you're stuck wiping your tears over somebody who never deserved your loyalty in the first place. Self-worth is not something you can negotiate, trade, or discount to make someone else comfortable. Too many times people lower themselves, shrink their value, or dim their light just to fit into places that were never meant to hold them. But here's the truth. When you truly understand your worth, you stop asking for permission to be respected. You stop begging for attention. You stop settling for scraps of love or approval when you were made to sit at the table as a full course. You see, the world has a funny way of testing you. It will send people into your life who try to convince you that you're not good enough, not pretty enough, not smart enough, not deserving enough. And if you don't know who you are, you'll start believing them. That's why self-worth has to be unshakable. It has to be something no rejection, no betrayal, no disappointment can take away from you. The crown on your head might slip, but it can never fall off unless you take it off yourself. When you let people dictate your value, you are handing over your power. Think about it. If every compliment lifts you up and every insult tears you down, you're living on a roller coaster built by other people. That is no way to live. Self-worth means you know who you are before anybody else opens their mouth. It means you've made peace with your flaws, celebrated your strengths, and accepted your uniqueness as part of your beauty. Once you have that, no one's opinion can shake you. And let's be real. People will test you. They'll ghost you. They'll betray you. They'll lie to you. They'll disrespect you. Some will even want to see how low you're willing to bend just to keep them around. But when you know your worth, you don't bend. You don't chase after those who walk away. You don't rewrite your standards to match their laziness. Instead, you rise higher and you let your silence do the talking. That's why walking away without tears, without begging, is the most powerful move you can make. It says, I know who I am and I don't need you to confirm it. Self-worth also means you stop comparing yourself to others. There will always be someone with more money, a bigger house, a different kind of beauty, or louder applause. But comparison is the thief of joy. When you measure yourself against others, you miss the truth. Your value is not in being like anyone else. Your value is in being exactly who you are, with your own gifts, your own journey, and your own purpose. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs you in all your authenticity. Here's the thing. When you walk with true self-worth, people notice. You don't have to announce it. You don't have to prove it. It shows up in how you carry yourself, how you speak, and how you allow people to treat you. You become magnetic because confidence without arrogance is rare. It's not about being better than anyone else. It's about refusing to be less than yourself. So never negotiate your worth. Never put yourself on clearance so someone else can afford you. If they can't handle your value, they don't deserve your presence. If they can't see your crown, it doesn't mean it isn't there. It just means they aren't qualified to sit in your kingdom. Remember, a queen never adjusts her crown to fit in. She keeps her head high and waits for those who can recognize royalty when they see it. When a door closes in your life, it is not the end of your story. Too often we look at closed doors as rejection, as failure, as a sign that we weren't good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough. But the truth is, closed doors are simply redirections. They are life's way of guiding us to the path we were truly meant to walk. What feels like a setback is often a setup for something greater than you could have imagined. Think about it. How many times have you wanted something so badly only to be denied, and years later you realize that denial was actually protection? Maybe it was a relationship you thought was perfect, but it ended. Maybe it was a job you were desperate to land, but you didn't get it. Maybe it was a friendship you poured into only to watch it fall apart. In the moment, Those losses sting and they can break your heart. But looking back, you start to see the bigger picture. That person wasn't right for you. That job would have drained you. That friend wasn't loyal. The closed door wasn't rejection. It was redirection. Life has a way of removing things that aren't aligned with your purpose. If every single thing you wanted worked out exactly how you planned, you would never grow. You would never stretch. You would never be pushed into the greater version of yourself. Closed doors are not punishment. They are protection. They keep you from settling for less than what you deserve. They keep you from staying in rooms where your crown is not recognized. The problem is many of us spend too much time staring at the closed door, crying over, knocking on it, begging it to open again. We waste our energy trying to breathe life back into something that was meant to end. The more time you spend stuck at a closed door, the less energy you have to move forward and find a door that was made for you. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is take one step back, wipe your tears, and trust that there's a better door waiting for you to walk through. Closed doors also teach you resilience. They toughen you up. They make you sharper, stronger, more aware. Every no you face is preparing you to appreciate the yes that's coming. Every disappointment is shaping your character. When you finally arrive at the place you're meant to be, you'll realize that you could not have handled that blessing if you hadn't first been redirected and refined by the challenges. And here's the beautiful part. When you stop chasing closed doors, you make space for new opportunities. You create room for the right people, the right career, the right dreams to come into your life. A closed door is an invitation to shift your focus from what you lost to what you're about to gain. It's not the end of the road. It's a turn onto a better one. So the next time a door slams shut, don't see it as failure. Don't see it as rejection. See it as divine redirection. Something greater is being prepared for you. Something you couldn't have reached if you stayed where you were. Trust the process, even when it doesn't make sense. Sometimes the greatest blessings are hidden behind the doors you didn't choose, but the ones that were chosen for you. There is a certain kind of power that comes not from fighting, not from shouting, not from trying to prove a point, but from leaving with grace. A graceful exit is one of the strongest statements you can make because it shows that your dignity means more than winning an argument. It shows that you value your peace more than you value being right in someone else's eyes. Walking away with grace is not weakness. It is strength wrapped in silence. Many people believe that power comes from the loudest voice in the room, from clapping back, from making sure the last word belongs to them. But real power is quiet. Real power is choosing not to waste your energy on battles that don't deserve you. When you learn how to walk away without bitterness, without drama, without lowering yourself, you've already won. You've proven that no matter what someone else does, they don't have the power to pull you out of character. A graceful exit is about protecting your spirit. Not everything or everyone deserves a reaction from you. When someone disrespects you, tries to diminish you, or takes your kindness for granted, you could fight back, yes, but at what cost? Every time you lower yourself to their level, you hand over your peace, and peace is too expensive to trade away. Grace is the ability to say, I know my worth, and I refuse to let this situation steal my light. Walking away gracefully also teaches the other person something without you saying a word. Silence is a mirror. It forces people to see themselves. When you exit without the tears, without the screaming, without the endless explanations, you leave them with their own actions. You give them nothing to push against, nothing to argue with. And in that silence, many times they realize what they've lost. But whether they realize it or not doesn't matter, because the point isn't about them. It's about you protecting your crown. There is a discipline in choosing grace. It requires maturity. Anyone can curse. Anyone can throw shade. Anyone can slam the door on their way out. But it takes true strength to walk calmly, to smile even when it hurts, and to leave in a way that preserves your self-respect. Grace is not about denying your feelings. It's about refusing to let those feelings control your actions. It's about remembering that your energy is sacred and you won't pour it into people or places that don't deserve it. And here's the truth. A graceful exit opens the door to better beginnings. When you leave without burning bridges, you make room for new opportunities to flow into your life. You send a signal to the universe that you're ready for better, and you're not carrying bitterness into the next chapter. Carrying anger only ties you to the very thing you're trying to escape. But walking away with peace cuts the cord clean and clear. The power of a graceful exit is that it allows you to leave the story with your dignity intact. No matter how someone treated you, no matter how unfair the situation was, you get to decide how you leave. And that decision defines your character more than anything else. So the next time life forces you to walk away, remember this. You don't need to shout. You don't need to fight. You don't need to prove a thing. Your silence, your composure, your grace, that is your power. Because in the end, it's not how loudly you leave that people remember. It's the strength, the dignity, and the quiet confidence with which you closed the door and walked into something greater. Silence has a power that words can never match. In a world where everyone feels the need to respond, to defend, to clap back, to have the last word, silence stands out as strength. It is not weakness to hold your tongue. It is wisdom. It is not cowardice to walk away without explaining yourself. It is confidence. Silence is louder than any argument because it leaves room for truth to reveal itself without your help. When you stay silent in the face of disrespect or betrayal, you take away the very fuel that conflict needs to survive. Arguments thrive on reaction. They grow stronger the more you feed them. But when you choose silence, you take away the power of the other person's words. They are left with their own actions, forced to sit with what they've done without you softening it or sparring with it. And many times that silence echoes louder than any comeback you could have given. Silence is also a declaration of self-control. Anybody can lash out. Anybody can say things they don't mean in the heat of the moment. But it takes strength to pause, to breathe, and to realize that not every battle deserves your presence. Not every insult deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves your energy. By staying silent, you are saying, I know who I am, and I don't need to lower myself to prove it. That is power. There is also peace in silence. When you argue, when you scream, when you defend yourself against people who never intended to understand you, you are giving away pieces of your peace. Silence protects that peace. It shields your energy. It gives you space to think, to heal, to refocus. Instead of being drained by endless explanations and battles that lead nowhere, silence allows you to walk away with your dignity untouched and your spirit still whole. Silence doesn't mean you don't feel the pain. It doesn't mean you don't recognize the disrespect. What it means is that you refuse to let the pain control your actions. It means you've matured enough to understand that words thrown in anger rarely solve anything. Silence is the choice to rise above. It is the decision to let go of the need to be understood by people who don't value understanding. And silence is not empty. It is full of meaning. It speaks on your behalf. It communicates self-respect. It communicates strength. It communicates boundaries. People notice when you stop engaging. They notice when you no longer explain, no longer argue, no longer beg to be heard. That silence sends a message. You are no longer available for disrespect, and you are no longer lowering yourself to be understood by those committed to misunderstanding you. Think about the times in your life when you stayed silent. Maybe you walked away from a fight. Maybe you didn't answer that text. Maybe you stopped explaining yourself to someone who never listened. In those moments, you probably felt the weight of peace return to you. That is the gift of silence. It releases you from the need to carry battles that were never yours in the first place. So remember this, silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. Silence is strength. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Sometimes the greatest response is to let your silence be the loudest statement in the room. Because at the end of the day, you don't need to prove your worth with words. Your silence, your composure, and your refusal to be dragged into negativity already prove that you are stronger than the storm around you. Protecting your future begins with the choices you make today. Every decision, every relationship, every environment you allow yourself to remain in is shaping what tomorrow will look like. Too often, people sacrifice their future by clinging to what feels comfortable in the present. They stay tied to relationships that drain them, jobs that limit them, or habits that keep them stagnant, all because they fear letting go. But here's the truth. If you don't protect your future, no one else will. And the cost of neglecting it is waking up years from now wishing you had made different choices. Your future is precious. It holds your purpose, your dreams, your growth, and the life you haven't yet discovered. Protecting it means setting boundaries today. It means saying no to people who bring chaos, even if they're familiar. It means walking away from situations that don't align with your goals, even if they're comfortable. The people you surround yourself with, the habits you practice, and the opportunities you chase, these are all seeds you're planting for the future. If you allow toxicity to plant itself in your present, don't be surprised when it grows into something you never wanted in your tomorrow. Protecting your future also requires discipline. The small choices you make every day may seem insignificant, but they add up. Choosing to waste your energy on those who don't respect you robs your future self of peace. Choosing to settle for less than your worth robs your future self of the abundance you were meant to experience. On the other hand, choosing to invest in your growth, to develop your skills, to focus on your health, to strengthen your spirit, those decisions protect and strengthen your tomorrow. One of the most important parts of protecting your future is recognizing that not everyone can go with you. Some people are only meant for a chapter of your life, not the whole book. Holding on to them when their season is over will only weigh you down. It doesn't mean you don't care about them. It means you care about your destiny more. When you protect your future, you stop apologizing for outgrowing people. You stop apologizing for chasing your calling. You stop apologizing for prioritizing your peace. Sometimes protecting your future looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like sacrifice. Sometimes it looks like lonely seasons where you're building, praying, grinding, and nobody understands what you're doing. But trust this. Every ounce of discipline, every boundary you set, every distraction you cut off is preparing you for the future you've been asking for. Protecting your future means not letting temporary emotions cause permanent damage. Means keeping your eyes on where you're going, not just where you are. And here's the truth. Your future is bigger than you. It's not just about your happiness. It's about your purpose. The people you will inspire, the lives you will touch, the difference you will make. That all depends on you protecting your future right now. If you give in to distractions, if you let people pull you into drama, if you waste your years begging for love from people who cannot give it, you not only cheat yourself, you cheat the world of the gift you were created to be. So guard your future like treasure. Protect it with the decisions you make, the standards you set, and the people you allow into your space. Never trade your tomorrow for temporary comfort today. You deserve more than that. Your future deserves more than that. And when you honor it, when you protect it, you will look back one day grateful that you didn't let small things ruin the great life you were meant to live. Walking in strength and class is not about pretending life doesn't hurt you or that you never struggle. It's about how you carry yourself in the middle of it all. Strength is not just about muscles or toughness. It is about resilience, the ability to keep going when everything in you wants to stop. Class is not about expensive clothes or social status. It is about dignity, grace, and the way you choose to treat yourself and others, even when you've been mistreated. When you combine strength with class, you become untouchable, not because life stops testing you, but because you refuse to let it break your spirit or steal your crown. Strength shows up when you keep walking after heartbreak. It's when you rise after failure. It's when you choose not to stay down, even when the weight of disappointment feels unbearable. Many people confuse strength with being cold or numb, but real strength is the opposite. It means you feel the pain, you acknowledge the loss, you shed the tears, but you don't let any of that define you. You keep pressing forward, not because it's easy, but because you know your future is bigger than your current struggle. Class, on the other hand, is how you carry that strength. Anyone can survive hardship by becoming bitter, hardened, or vengeful. But walking in class means you handle your battles without losing your grace. It means you don't need to curse people out or belittle them to prove your worth. You don't need to broadcast your pain or parade your enemies. You walk away with dignity, letting your actions and your silence speak louder than anything you could ever say. That is class, maintaining your elegance in the storm. Walking in strength in class also means setting an example. People are watching how you handle adversity. They are watching how you exit situations, how you deal with disrespect, how you recover from disappointment. When you walk in strength in class, you inspire others to do the same. You become proof that you don't have to lose yourself to survive this world. You don't have to give up your character to protect your pride. You can rise without being ruthless, and you can shine without dimming anyone else. It's important to understand that strength and class are choices. They don't always come naturally. Sometimes everything in you wants to scream, to fight back, to seek revenge. But choosing strength means choosing self-control. Choosing class means remembering that you are bigger than the moment. Not every insult deserves your energy. Not every betrayal deserves your revenge. And not every loss deserves your despair. Strength and class say, I will not let this situation reduce me. I will not let this pain define me. I will walk forward with my head high no matter what. And here's the beauty of it. When you walk in strength and class, you attract better into your life. People respect it. Opportunities flow to it. Life honors those who refuse to break down under pressure, but choose instead to rise with dignity. The way you carry yourself will open doors that talent alone cannot open. So walk in strength and class. Not because life is fair, not because people always treat you right, but because you owe it to yourself to rise above. You owe it to yourself to keep your crown straight. You owe it to yourself to be remembered not for how life hit you, but for how gracefully you stood tall anyway. Strength is surviving. Class is shining while you survive. And together they make you unstoppable.